Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to have with me on Zoom today a very summery looking, and I think he's happy, Dave Coldwell. Dave, how are you doing? Happy Monday.
How are we doing? I'm very happy. It's always good when it's sunny, isn't it?
It is. How's your Monday going?
Not bad. I had a good session in the gym this morning with the boys, Hopi, Laron and Jordan. So good, all good.
Dave, I realised that, obviously going from gym to gym and speaking to different trainers, people work differently. You like to kind of get all your boys done nice and early in the morning and kind of have that lifestyle of balance with the family later on in the afternoon, pick up kids, etc., isn't it? That works for you.
No, what it is they do their S&C sessions in the afternoon. So we do the boxing in the morning, S&C in the afternoon, and then they've done. But as far as the boxing side of things, I will always, depending on how many fighters I've got, I'm in the gym until their jobs are done. When I've got sparring or things like that, then we're in the gym, because if I train the fighters on separate schedules, then they're not all in together. Then the day just stretches on anyway. But if they're all in together, like Monday's it's a session where they're all in together, so it's done quite early. We start early and we're done early. Sparring sessions where you've got people coming, traveling, then whoever's sparring their sessions later on, and so on. And then when you've got more fighters, then it goes even longer. But as long as it doesn't go past 3 o'clock in the boxing gym, then I'm happy, and that's why I won't take on more fighters as such.
That gym must have been hot today.
Yeah, we actually had the windows open, and the lads were like laughing because I always have it hot. I always like it hot. And it's very, very rare that I have the windows open. It's very, very rare that there's heat is not on. So yeah, they knew it was a hot day today because I suggested, shall we open the windows? They were like, whoa. So yeah.
Dave, I saw an Instagram post that you put up a couple of days ago. I know it's been generally a quiet month of boxing all round in the UK, but obviously you've got some big fights coming up. Let's start off with the announcement. I think it was back early last week. A fighter you managed, Leigh Wood, getting that title shot against Kanzu. Yeah. You must be delighted for Leigh.
Over the moon for him. He's had a long old career. He's had a lot of frustration and frustrating times in his career. He showed what you do when you get beat. You come back, go back to the drawing board, you improve, and you go again. And it's nice that at 32 that he has an opportunity to change his life and to achieve his dreams, and what all fighters set out as professionals for is to become world champion. And he's got an opportunity now to go out there and win himself a title.
How difficult is that with Kanzu? I know Kanzu's had a couple of beats, I think about 7 odd years ago, so he's obviously improved and got a huge winning record. But how tough is this fight going to be for Leigh?
It's a very tough fight. It is a tough fight, Kanzu's a high volume fighter. He likes to throw plenty of punches. We've all seen that. He's very tough, but he's there to be it. One thing that Leigh Wood can do, and I know his record doesn't suggest that he hits extraordinarily hard, but he really does. Both myself and Ben Davison, who trains him, when we took him on the pads, Leigh came down and sparred at my gym. When I first started managing him, and I just took him on the pads, and I genuinely couldn't believe it. He shocked me how hard he is. And then Ben Davison, when Ben started training him, and the first time we spoke, he says, "Have you ever took him on pads?" I was like, "Yeah." It was like, "Oh my God!" He said, "Where the fuck's that power come from?" He couldn't believe how hard he is, And Ben's been teaching him how to set up the shots, but also how to develop the opportunities and to actually put those punches with power into practice in fight situations. And you saw in his last fight, it was a stunning knockout. And Lee's got the power to to win that fight. And Kanzu's got the style that I think that will give Leigh the opportunity to land those shots. And I'm not saying it's one shot and it's all over, but what I'm saying is I think the opportunity will be there for Leigh to hit him enough times to do the damage and get him out of there. It's going to be a very, very tough fight. And mentally, it's going to be a fight that he's got to stay on track with, because it might feel like he's having to work. It might feel like he's at some points that he's being outworked, but he's just got to trust in the process and to believe in himself, and which he does. And I think he can pull this it'll be shocking world terms off. But make the most of an amazing opportunity.
Talk a little bit about Mr. Michael Jackson himself, Jordan Gill. You know why I said that, Dave. He's had some ups and downs with you, Dave, and we know he's suffered at defeat. He's had some health issues, but good to see him finally getting that kind of that European level now, European title shot now as well. For you must be happy. You must also be happy as well, because you kind of created this very, very close bond, and I think he's the one that's been with you the longest now out of everyone in the bunch. So nice to see him progressing now.
Yeah, definitely. It's no secret he's had a very, very tough career. He's not been one of these kids like Leigh that they were not with a big promoter from the start and built through and things like that. He just had to work away on the quiet, and then he gets his opportunity, takes it, and then hits a bump in the road. But it's how you react to adversity. It's how you react to the setbacks. And he's a fantastic role model for young kids that maybe do have a kick in the nuts and get taken back a few places. And boxing is like a game of snakes and ladders. You might be just trickling on mid table, and all of a sudden you jump on a ladder that just takes you right up there, and then all of a sudden you're right back. You feel like you're back at square one. You could even be further behind. It's no secret a fighter gets beat, and promoters tend to just kind of like forget about you. It's up to you how you take them. You can either sulk about it and bitch and moan about it, or I'm not giving the push anymore. I'm not. It's not because somebody else is taking your place because you got beat. They're always looking out for that they're spending their money. They want to they want value for their investment as such. And the slots that are on these shows, everybody's fighting for them. There's only X amount of slots, but there's so many big, so many names and so many people that are trying to fight for these slots. So unfortunately, the downside of that is that when you have a setback, you can be forgotten. And again, it's that mentality and that desire and that work ethic that's going to bring you back. And it might not be straight away. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. But keep winning. Keep doing what you need to do, and then you get another opportunity. And that's what Jordan's done. He's had 2 fights during the closed door shows, and he's performed absolutely brilliantly, and he deserves that European title shot. And now he goes out there and please God, he goes and just does what he has been doing consistently for the last 15, 18 months now, and he becomes European champion. And then there's him and Lerone, that European champions in the gym and looking to progress onto world honours.
European champion, obviously Amy Timlin, obviously another person you manage as well, getting an opportunity as well. So delighted for Amy.
Yeah, she's a young girl. She's a very young girl, and she's the experience that she's gathering now in these championship fights is worth so many more than just fighting whoever's for in 6 and 8 rounders. The thing about excuse me, the thing about women's boxing at the moment, in a lot of the divisions, it's not very deep. So opportunities come quicker. I think Amy had 4 fights and she got Coldwell title fight against Carly Skelly. The 10 rounds that she had in that are going to do her wonders. The experience that she got, surely already talking and acting like a different fighter now. This opportunity's come along. It's a tough fight, but what do you do? What are you in the game for? And please God, she goes out there and takes it, and then she's in the big fights, and she's in that mix.
Samuel Antwi as well, English title opportunity as well. So for yourself, you've almost got fighters at different levels, haven't you, Dave? You've got the British, you've got the European. I know you've got a stack of them at the European that eventually, they're still young, that they will go on to Worlds, but you've even got people like Samuel at that English level as well, where you're trying to build them to that next British Commonwealth type level.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Samuel's a good, he's a good prospect, he's a dangerous fighter, and he's an exciting fighter as well. And he's a great addition to that welterweight mix. Fantastic win last time out to become English champion. It meant a lot to him, but he wants to progress. We've got this defense coming up on the Fight Zone show. We're excited about that. Go out there and do a job, and then it's about progressing towards getting that British title shot. I believe get this defense of the English under his belt, and then he's in that mix. But yeah, you've got to have fighters. You're looking at fighters at all different levels, at title fights from area levels all the way through, as they're developing. And then there's the ones that are coming through behind that, like Paul McCullough, Stephen Cairns, who's 19 years old, fantastic prospect. Callum Beardo from Sheffield. People like that. Callum Beardo is in the gym all the time. I feel sorry for him because behind closed doors, it was only TV shows. And for kids that aren't with the promoter, that are just setting out in the career, it's been very, very hard to get any work whatsoever. There's so, not just my fighters all around the country, just careers have just ground to a halt. But Callum's a kid that stayed in the gym and just been working. So, he's fighting in September. So once things start again for him, then he's missed out on the ring time, fight time wise, but he's still been preparing, he's still been improving as a fighter, and still been moving on. And that's very, very important. Stephen Cairns is lucky. Not lucky, but he managed to make his debut abroad. So he's 1-0 and he's up and running. And Paul McCullough, on a couple of MTK shows, he's 2-0. So the careers are moving, but not as fast as what we'd like them to. But now things are opening back up, thankfully. I see all the promoters now starting to looking at putting dates on, and it's exciting times for boxing again. Yes, it's exciting at the top end for the big titles and things like that. But for the guys that are coming through, the guys that are away from the bright lights of the TV cameras, it's exciting for them again because their career can start going now. And let's not forget that those guys are the guys that we're going to see coming through on TV shows in the future. Those guys that are working away and getting that experience now. Not everybody's signed to a big promoter when they turn professional. There's everybody else that are coming through as well.
Dave, I don't know if you can confirm or deny this. Obviously, we know Derek Chisora has parted ways with David Hay and the set here in London. There's a picture on your Instagram, so I'm not saying it's on anyone else's Instagram, but your Instagram with Derek in the picture. I'm not sure if that was an old picture or it was a recent picture, but are you linked back up with Derek, or are you just working with him briefly, keeping him warm?
He came up to see me and the boys. And we're just talking at the moment. Similar sort of situation where we never fell out. He wanted me to train him in London. I couldn't do that. I said you're always welcome at my gym. It's not a problem. But that's down to him. We're just working things out, and we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Okay, interesting. Dave,
nothing to talk about yet. Other than things are just, if they can get worked out, they can get worked out.
Sticking with the heavyweight division, it is fight week. Joyce returns against Carlos Takam. When I think of Carlos Takam, I remember, because I was ringside at the time, your celebration when Derek Chisora knocked him out. Comes straight to my mind. Good fight for Joyce at his career, or is Carlos' style just made for someone like Joyce?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Carlos Takam's a very, very good fighter, tough fighter, but he's right down here. Joe's massive. He's strong himself. He's very awkward. And he punches hard himself. in the circumstances, it's probably the best fight that they could get for Joe Joyce right now, and he's a world name, you know, a name on the world scene, very respectable. But it's a fight that I expect Joe Joyce to win, and I expect him to look good in. So it's, you know, it's not quite. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Carlos in saying it's a marking time fight, but if you're Joe Joyce, whatever age he is, and with the, you know, the ambition that they've got, then really it kind of is, because you would expect to beat Carlos Takam. If Takam beats Joe Joyce, then you would have to say, well, that's a shock, you know, because Chisora's beaten him, AJ's beaten him. You know, you would expect him to win the fight at this stage of both men's careers. So it is kind of like all right, it's a run out, it gets him out, and then, you know, hopefully something bigger for him opens up.
Dave, I know we've got a number of heavyweights in the UK that are close to that world title. Well, close to that world title shot. Dillian Whyte, Joe Joyce, etc. Everyone was expecting Fury Joshua to take place, and even though it was announced by Eddie and announced by Fury himself, it hasn't happened. And I think some of the heavyweights are hoping that it does happen, because then by the time the rematch happens, the belts will just free themselves up, and others will get the opportunity. Now, while the Fury isn't going to happen until October, Joshua Usyk doesn't look like it's till September 25th. So realistically, those belts probably won't get free if an undisputed is made early next year, till end of 2022 and 2023, maybe even. So how do you kind of see the current landscape of kind of the British crop towards the world title level?
Listen, I'm not being funny, but we've talked the heavyweight division to death with AJ and Fury, and then Wilder and Fury 3. Neither of them have happened. Obviously, listen, whatever's happened. Once it's done, it's done. You can't. There's no point in going on about it anymore. Just whether there's belts on the line or what, let's just make some good fighters in the heavyweight division, because the other divisions are all taking care of themselves, and we're getting some great fights, you know. But the heavyweight division is supposed to be the flagship. Let's get the great fights made, you know. Everybody since Usyk stepped up to heavyweight, everyone's been talking about Usyk. Well, Usyk's got his shot against AJ. That's a good fight. Regardless of what you think, how Usyk looked so far at heavyweight, that's the fight that everybody was talking about and stamping, and everybody was saying Usyk's going to beat AJ. When Usyk stepped up originally, I was like, he's got a style to give AJ problems. So, although I now kind of like changed my opinion from what I've seen of Usyk so far, Usyk's gone back to Lomachenko's dad. You think, oh, okay, that makes it more intriguing for me. It's like with Wilder having Malik Scott and looking at the developments of him under Malik Scott, all of a sudden now, from a fight that I couldn't really give a shit about, I was actually, okay, I'm now interested in this fight, but now it's shelved. It's not happening until October. But we need Dillian Whyte in a big fight, you know, in something juicy, something meaningful. You know, we need these fights, whether there's a belt on the line or what. Let's just get the great fights made that we can be excited about the heavyweight division, rather than longing for what might or might not happen, rather than regretting on what's happened already with the fights falling through, and rather than just seeing it kind of like a stalemate, you know. And it's, you know, it just needs to flow. It needs to move.
No, you're absolutely right. Let's hope over the coming months, or by the end of the year, at least we can see some big fights that have already happened.
Yeah, but do you know what? If it doesn't, fuck it. There's so many other fights in boxing right now. So many other weight divisions in boxing right now that are exciting. If there's one division, all right, it's the flagship division. But in all honesty, there are far better fights that keep happening in the lower weight divisions than do happen in the heavyweight division. You know, everybody talks about, it's the most exciting division, right? No, it's not. It potentially could be with the odd fights, but 9 times out of 10, heavyweight fights aren't as exciting as the smaller guys, smaller division. But people like to have that perception that it is, you know. So if it doesn't flow in heavyweight division, all right, park it up, wait until it does. Appreciate what happens that's positive in it. But let's focus on all these other weight divisions where it is exciting and where we are getting great fights, we are getting good matchups, and we have got good personalities. We have got an exciting future. Let's focus on them until the heavyweight division clears itself.
Okay, Dave, just finally, away from boxing, I know over the last 15, 16 months, we've had numerous interviews, etc. But today is July the 19th. It's known as Freedom Day. Are you happy that we're going back to normality or some sort?
I just, you know what? I just think it shows you how bad, how far back we've gone, that we're celebrating, or people are celebrating and talking about it. Oh, congratulations, it's Freedom Day. It's like it fucking should be. You know, it's how it should be. People should, people should be able to live their lives. You know, that's a big part of living. Being alive is to live, not just to exist. There's so many things I could go into about it, but I don't judge. However anybody wants to live their life. If people still want to wear a mask, respect you. People don't, respect you. Live your life how you want to live it. People want to take a vaccine, take it. If people don't want to take a vaccine, they shouldn't be made to feel dirty. They shouldn't be made to feel as though they're being squeezed and forced into. It's people's choice. You've got one life. Live it. Live it.
That'll be my title.
I just don't. This judging of people and shit, when people don't know the full facts, and people that are just listening to what certain people are telling them. That's what, if people ask me, what's your opinion on the vaccine? I don't. It's none of my business. What I'm not going to tell you what you should do with a vaccine. What I will say to you is read, get the knowledge. Read. I'm not talking about reading what you see on the news. I'm talking about read the papers that are 60 and 70 pages long that are on the government website, that are on the vaccine companies' websites. They're about 60, 70 pages long. Read them. But people don't want to do that. So they'll just listen to some geezer on the news that they'll just go, okay, I'll do what he told her. Okay, but if they want to do that, fair enough. But don't then criticize people that are willing to put the time in to read and to gain knowledge to make a choice for themselves or their families. So I do what you want and just enjoy living. That's all I'm. Whether it's Freedom Day or whatever, just enjoy living, because I know people that have not lived for a year and then died. So what have they done in the last year? Our grandparents that have not seen the grandkids, and you can see them not being interacted, not being around the grandkids, and you can see how they've aged. You can see how they've aged, and grandkids keep grandparents young, and with not being able to see them, not being able to interact with them, or anything. And I get that, but I've seen how it's affected their lives. And then you see how people, I've seen it with kids. I coach kids, and I've seen kids, how different they are in their mentality and confidence and interactions with other kids. I've seen how that's changed, and it's a struggle to get them back to normal. So just enjoy living, because you could walk outside your front gate and get hit by a car. Do you know what I mean? It could end there. Nobody knows. You can be the fittest, healthiest person. Listen, we've seen a couple of cases lately where fit, healthy people, God bless them, have just been taken straight away. You've got to enjoy your life, and yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not going into it. I've got into it enough. People don't listen to me ranting about bullshit.
Of course, Dave. Just finally, obviously, sad news last week. Passing of Chris Eubank, Senior's son, Seb, who was also a boxer and a fighter. But as you just mentioned there, just thought I bring up a young, healthy person. I knew Seb personally myself, of how he lived his life and what he promoted about clean eating and stuff like that. And he passed away, unfortunately, in the waters. Unfortunately, had a heart attack as well. So our thoughts obviously are with Chris and his whole family.
Every time I met him, he's such a lovely guy, really nice guy, really, really nice kid. And when I saw that, I was shocked and I was absolutely gutted. But I know his sister, obviously, Emily, and so we're out. All my family think a lot about Emily. We've always seen her out shows and things like that. We're absolutely heartbroken for Chris, obviously, and for Junior. It's just no parent should see that. No parent should ever have to go through that. And it's heartbreaking. I'm absolutely gutted for him, devastated. I saw something that Chris Eubank Senior put up on his socials, a little video. Oh man, it's heartbreaking. But that's what I'm saying is there's so much hate and so much turbulence in the world and everything like that. People need to just chill and just appreciate what's happening, the positives that are happening. People need to let people know that they love them. People need to stop just banging on about hate and just being nasty to people, because you just don't know when your time's up. Like I said, you're talking about healthy people that all of a sudden are gone. People waste too much of their lives on hatred and trying to make people feel bad. But yeah, it seems when anybody loses anything, it puts things into perspective. But when it's somebody that you've met, I mean, obviously for everybody that was friends with him and close with him and family and things like that, it's absolutely devastating. I only met him a few times, but impacted me because I think he's just such a nice kid, and yeah, it's sad, man. It really is.
Our thoughts go out to all Eubank fans.
Yeah, 100%.
May God give him more strength and ease. Dave, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time. Hopefully, we're a bit free. Hopefully, our next interview might be face-to-face rather than this technological Zoom stuff that we do and what we've done for the last 18 months or so. But enjoy the rest of the day. Have a good week, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Mate.
Dave Coldwell.
Nice one, mate.
Thank you very much.